Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. All about SpaceX, so make sure to watch the full video. SpaceX? What is it? Elon Musk started the aerospace and space transportation company SpaceX, Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, in 2002. Tesla, a manufacturer of electric vehicles, is led by Musk, and most recently, he signed an agreement to pay $44 billion, acquire the social networking site Twitter in April 2022. In 2006, SpaceX presented the Dragon, a delivery vehicle that had been in development for 18 months. Soon after, the Falcon spacecraft, which was built to carry people and cargo into orbit, was launched. Since its launch services are less expensive than many of its rivals, SpaceX has been a disruptive force in the global launch industry. It collaborates closely with NASA to launch satellites into Earth orbit and carry supplies and personnel to the International Space Station (ISS). The development and usage of reusable rocket launchers by SpaceX is one of the main distinctions between their program and that of NASA. NASA's rockets typically include 2 or 3 stages. The stage is abandoned and cast into the ocean once it has used all of its fuel. In 2011, SpaceX introduced the idea of a reusable rocket for the first time. In 2015, it accomplished the first liquid-fueled rocket launch and landing with success. As previously established, SpaceX has 2 rocket platforms, Falcon and Dragon. The liftoff platform, called Falcon 9, is used to launch cargo into orbit using first and second stage rockets. The first stage launches the rocket into orbit and manages its secure return and landing on the planet. The payload is carried by the second stage into orbit, but it is destroyed during re-entry. Falcon 9 has the ability to orbit a single large satellite, 1 or more small satellites, a Dragon capsule, or all 3. The payload is carried by Dragon. Dragon comes in 2 varieties, Crew Dragon and Cargo Dragon. While Crew Dragon transports people, Cargo Dragon carries machinery and other freight. Both were intended for the ISS. The vehicle completes its work at the ISS, detaches, and descends to Earth, while descending slowly due to parachutes. Then it is salvaged and made ready for use. For a Falcon 9 rocket launch, SpaceX costs $62 million, which is far less than rival companies like United Launch Alliance, ULA, which can charge up to $165 million for its Atlas V rocket, or European launcher Arianespace's Ariane 5. The SpaceX timeline. Before it had conducted a single test flight, SpaceX was awarded $278 million by NASA in 2006 as part of the agency's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services (TOTS) program. The objective of the program was to promote the growth of businesses in the private sector that would develop technologies for delivering cargo to the ISS. Eventually, a $1.6 billion contract for 12 flights was awarded to it. Before Falcon 1 conducted its first successful launch on September 28, 2008, SpaceX spent years making mistakes. With a load capacity of only 570 kilograms, Falcon 1 was constrained. The Falcon 9 was eventually created by SpaceX and could carry up to 13,150 kilograms of cargo in addition to the Dragon. In June 2010, the Falcon 9 made its first flight. After a few mishaps, it successfully completed a test trip for the TOTS program in May 2012, delivering its first cargo to the space station. In October 2012, the company's first regular commercial voyage to the space station was conducted. Falcon Heavy is yet another Falcon vehicle made by SpaceX. The craft consists essentially of 3 Falcon 9s coupled side by side to hoist a bigger payload of up to 63,800 kilograms. 2018 saw its initial testing. The following are just a few of the firsts that SpaceX has made in space travel. Falcon 1, a privately funded liquid-fueled rocket, will launch into space in September 2008. Successful launch, orbit, and recovery of a spacecraft by a privately funded business, December 2010. The International Space Station will receive a spacecraft from a private enterprise in May 2012. An unidentified private business will launch a satellite into geosynchronous orbit in December 2013. A private business will launch a probe outside of Earth's orbit in February 2015. Landing of an orbital first-stage rocket, December 2015. A private corporation will launch people into orbit in May 2020. Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, and ULA are a few of SpaceX's rivals in the private aerospace sector. NASA and SpaceX are contrasted. Frequently, NASA and SpaceX are contrasted. Despite the fact that they perform related tasks, they operate significantly differently. Due to budgetary restrictions, the Space Shuttle program had to be canceled because NASA is a government-owned and funded enterprise. Since SpaceX is a privately owned for-profit company, it has an incentive to keep costs in check. While NASA serves U.S. government interests, it seeks both public and private clients. The U.S. government, however, is SpaceX's biggest client, and it largely uses it to perform cargo trips to the ISS at a lower cost than NASA. Attempts have been made to redirect NASA toward deep space exploration and hand off low to mid-orbit spaceflight to the private sector, which has only recently been accessible in the past few decades. NASA has moved its focus to deep space exploration as a result of SpaceX's success as a commercial company that specializes in space launches, such as the James Webb Space Telescope that will launch in late 2021. The trajectory of SpaceX. Elon Musk has often stated that SpaceX does not intend to use Earth's orbit as its final destination. He plans to travel beyond the moon, send astronauts to Mars, and then return them in a secure manner. The next phase for SpaceX is a massive rocket named Starship that would have more than twice as much thrust as Falcon Heavy. It is an advanced rocket developed to outperform the Saturn V rockets that first carried people to the moon. A few Starships will be made for quick travel around Earth, space travel, and exploring the moon and Mars. Others will be developed for carrying substantial payloads on Artemis missions to the moon and eventually Mars exploration. On April 20, 2023, SpaceX launched a Starship rocket without any crew aboard. However, the attempt to separate from the rocket and spacecraft booster failed about 4 minutes after liftoff. The missile crashed to the Earth before detonating. SpaceX, on the other hand, views the launch as a success and will keep reviewing the data to determine what went wrong before the following flight test. The NASA Artemis mission, which would carry astronauts to the moon in 2025, will heavily rely on the Starship's rocket. NASA made plans to recruit independent contractors with some of its Artemis money, which they disclosed in April 2021. The Artemis astronauts will use a lunar lander that was developed and used by SpaceX as part of a $2.9 billion contract. Starlink is a global satellite internet network made up of thousands of satellites that SpaceX is deploying to provide worldwide high-speed internet. It is another project being worked on by SpaceX. The Falcon 9 is the SpaceX fleet's workhorse rocket and has the capability of being reused. Falcon 9 can carry substantially more cargo than Falcon 1 to 28,991 oz, 13,150 kilograms to low Earth orbit, as opposed to 1,480 oz, 670 kilograms for Falcon 1. Since the initial Falcon 9 booster landing on December 21, 2015, SpaceX has worked to make booster retrieval a standard procedure. Near the launch pad, they typically land on a robotic drone ship. In order to lower the cost of launches, many Falcon 9 boosters have been reused. On February 6, 2018, the Falcon Heavy rocket, a more potent rocket, launched, accomplishing nearly all of its primary goals. A spacesuit-clad mannequin known as Starman and a Tesla Roadster, an electric vehicle produced by Tesla, another business owned by Musk, made it to orbit successfully. The Roadster's first few hours in orbit were broadcast live by SpaceX, capturing the attention of viewers from all around the world. The two rocket boosters detonated successfully as planned at Kennedy Space Center, but the core stage hit the ocean at a speed of 300 miles per hour, 480 kilometers/at, which was too high, and it was destroyed in the collision. The Roadster was subsequently launched into space by Falcon Heavy using an engine burn that is anticipated to carry it at least as far as Mars orbit. SpaceX suffered a setback in April 2019 when a test of the crewed Dragon spacecraft, which was meant to carry NASA astronauts into orbit, had a problem while on the ground. As a result, Cape Canaveral, Florida, was surrounded by a smoke plume that could be seen for miles. The catastrophe delayed the firm's schedule for sending passengers to the International Space Station. However, since the first crewed mission in 2020, the company has recovered and has been successfully placing people in orbit. So that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. Use the comments section below to tell us your thoughts about the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of all the latest videos.